All right. Hey, this is Brent Leary. And usually at this point, I pause because somebody else says I'm Paul Greenberg. We expect them to be here shortly, but I'm Brent Leary and I'm representing the CRM players because this is the first time we've ever done a watch party for a Canva keynote. I never really thought about it before, but now it's time to think about it from the enterprise perspective. And as usual, we don't do this alone. We bring smart people all around us because we need it. Anyway, I think this is her debut on a CRM Players Watch Party. Is someone who basically, if you look at any of our shows and if you listen to any of the intros and outros and look at the logos and the branding and all that, it's all due to one person, Chanel. I was going to say Chanel West Coast, but no West Coast at all. Chanel Wheeler, first time joining us on the watch party. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So we got to balance out the new with, I shouldn't say the old because he's not old. He's just a Brohammer, man. It's the co-founder of Diginomica, the one and only Jon Reed. Hey, John.
I prefer the term vintage. Thank you.
Oh, and this is so cool. Yeah, we'll go with vintage for now. You know,
and
we'll have fun with
what the heck is David Smith doing taking over Liz's cameo there?
I got to, yeah. As soon as you said his name,
like they just crashed. They just crashed and burned. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I think they're back. Let me give them the full screen action here. And I'm gonna unmute you guys. It looks like there's a lot going on. Say hello if I can. Why am I not getting you guys to unmute? Did we lose your audio? Oh my God, we lost. There it is. There it is. Look at this. Liz Miller and DJ Wiz is in the house. All right, we cannot hear anything you guys are doing or saying right now. Matter of fact, you kind of froze. So
let's see.
There.
Yes,
oh, look at
they
this.
can hear us. Oh God.
Now we can hear you. Hey, what's going on, guys? No, you sound great. What's going on in the room?
Oh wait. Okay.
I can tell one thing: they need better Wi-Fi in that place. I can tell you that. Yeah. Unfortunately, we are having some.
Let's do a screen grab of that. That's a really nice one. I'm gonna grab that right now.
Okay. Can you hear us?
All right. You're coming in. We're hearing a little bit now. We're hearing a little bit.
Okay. We're here.
Uh-oh.
This reminds me of the conversation I had with my mom last night. On her Wi-Fi at a retirement home.
I'm just gonna leave that one.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I'm moving rooms. I'm moving to this location.
Well, maybe we'll try to check back in with.
We'll check back. I'm sure Liz will have some pungent observations from the ground if we can actually.
Pungent.
If we can actually get a decent connection.
Yeah. So I'm keeping an eye on the YouTube channel there. It looks like they are starting to do some stuff. No, it's just that same little video they got going. Anyway, have either of you checked out a Canva Create Keynote, either virtual or in person before?
I have not, no, even though I use it every week, but I have not checked out a Keynote.
What about you, Brohammer?
No, I haven't been looking at Canva too carefully, but that's starting to change because basically they're earning it, and we've done some really interesting coverage on Diginomica on Canva, and but it's interesting times because you have this narrative of Canva like making an enterprise play and disrupting some of the usual suspects. I won't say Adobe, but that's one that comes to mind. But then I heard the other day, like, oh, Gamma's here to disrupt Canva. So this is the nature of the market we're in right now, right? Like, are you the one leading the change, or someone else coming in on you? And so I guess I'm interested to see how Canva navigates all of that during this keynote, because they have to make their enterprise case, but they also have their own battles to fight in terms of it's all about what are the best, most effective tools that are the most friendly for people who aren't skilled designers? And then how do you scale that and do all the enterprise things, right? You know,
Yeah.
different languages, different regions. So anyway, I'm really curious to see what they have to say.
Chanel, what are you looking for here?
I'm looking forward to just seeing what innovations they have and, you know, how, like John said, companies can adapt, because I've always been a principle first, tool second person. So I build my skills on principles and understanding and critical thinking first, and then I build tools on top of that, because the tools change all the time. But I do find that even I am an avid Adobe user still, and there are still lots of limitations that Canva can't do. But if it can do some things, then that would be interesting to know and to learn about, because I have to always adapt to the teams that I work with and help them to kind of get over the line of creating as well.
Speaking of Adobe, oops, I really hate StreamYard because it never does what I was expecting it to do. Anyway, Adobe next Monday, Adobe Summit, opening keynote. We'll be doing a watch party for that one too. I actually think this may be the most important keynote for an Adobe anything in maybe the past decade, because they kind of feel like they're on the rocks right now. The CEO announced he's leaving. Their stock price has basically been in the tank for 2 years. Nobody seems to want to pay for a creative studio license, and then on top of that, a license to use their AI or a subscription to use their AI. And they just feel like they got companies like Canva coming at them. It really feels like they're at a crossroads. So I'm very interested in seeing what they talk about next week. I don't know if you got, John or Chanel, you have any thoughts on, even though we're here at Canva, what do you think about how the magnitude of what's going to happen next week?
Go for it, Chanel.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting as well, because there are a lot of other players coming into the market, and I think that creators like me who have been using Adobe for a long time, a lot of us don't like the price increases and all that stuff. There's still a lot of value in it, because I think if you're doing deep design and nuanced things, there are things that are still very valuable in Adobe. But to see how they're gonna tackle the competition and remain relevant will be interesting to know.
Yeah, like I don't put nearly as much stock in the market side of it as I do other factors. I don't think you can count a company like Adobe out, but there's just no question that this is a space where people are looking for fresh ideas and solutions. So, Brian, I think I would agree with you that that this is a big one for Adobe. And one of the things that I think is interesting around this particular space is it's a little less bogged down in governance and compliance issues, because it's a little more of a creator space in some ways. And that makes it harder on incumbents, because in other areas of software, incumbents have advantages when it comes to regulatory and compliance frameworks and governance frameworks and data frameworks. And while that matters in some of the markets Adobe plays in, especially on the CX side, it doesn't give them as much incumbent protection, I guess. So, but that also makes it exciting for them, because they have to define their value to everyone. So I think you're right. This is going to be a big one. I'll see if I can catch part of the watch party from the road, if I can swing in.
Yeah,
look forward to that.
Absolutely. So I'm keeping an eye out. They seem to be running a tad late on the. It keeps saying waiting for Canva at 1 p.m. We're a little past 1 p.m. So we are definitely still waiting. I actually just bring this up just so we can keep an eye on what's going on there. But I don't know what to expect for this one. I've never seen a Canva keynote. I either virtually or otherwise. I never really thought of them for the enterprise, but I think they're moving upstream, and maybe they sense a little blood in the water for Adobe. And I'm just interested to see beyond what they're going to talk about around their tools and all that. Just want to hear how they talk about, if they mention the enterprise, if they mention kind of things that are enterprise like versus the traditional kind of focus on the tools. That's what I'm really really interested in, because I just don't have. I've never even talked to anybody. I barely use Chanel is the reason why I've used some of the Canva stuff to date. I've been an Adobe person for a long time, particularly when it comes to the video stuff with Adobe Premiere and all that. I haven't used Photoshop a little bit, but yeah, I'm really interested to see how they talk about potentially moving upstream and what that means to them. What does the enterprise, if they do talk about it, what does it mean to them, and how do they approach it, particularly with this AI opportunity that gives anybody who has a really good strategy and platform that has integrated whatever they do, AI into that. It gives them an opportunity to go places they might not have been able to go before. So that's kind of what I'm looking for.
To me, it seems interesting it seems like new adopters of design technology, they're more likely to go with Canva than Adobe, because number one, it costs less. But like if you've already been playing the Adobe game for a while, I feel like, and you're like an enterprise team, I feel like it's going to still be a staple in the way that you do business. But I have a client who just recently got a Canva enterprise account, but they haven't had any design support on their team officially in the years that they've been running business. So it seems like a viable option for new people adopting it, but I think that Adobe is still a viable player for people who are already grandfathered in, have already been using it for a long time, and then they use Canva too at the same time. So I will be interested to see what they say.
So I was just reading a article by my colleague Phil Wainwright, who's been looking at Canva closely, and he's got some enterprise stories in that were interesting to me, and it was really all about the problem with adoption of pro designer tools across global organizations, and that a lot of the designer tools are not easy to learn and adopt. And they had a story from SAP where they had Canva came in and showed them that they already had 10,000 people inside SAP using Canva on their own. They had all those. So it's like kind of a sneaky adoption story. And so SAP's like, okay, let's empower these people. And so basically within Canva, you can modify all kinds of professional designs, right? So it doesn't eliminate the professional designer, but what it did for these organizations is it allowed them to adapt those designs to different regions quickly, and different campaigns and different formats and stuff like that. And I don't know, I thought those were cool, interesting stories, because when you're trying to sell into a company and you can say, well, 10,000 of your people are already using our tools, that's kind of effective. So that type of story gets my attention a little bit, and I think it'll be interesting to see if they talk about examples like that in the keynote today, because in this story they had Coca-Cola, HubSpot, and SAP talking up Canva. So those are big names.
Yeah. Chanel, have you used any of the AI capabilities from within Canva? And if so, have they made a significant difference in how you do what you do?
Yeah, I have. I've done it for some simple graphics for cover images of for social promo and things like that. But the most relevant and recent example is actually for IRL 2026, is when we had our kind of like the cover images for the different sessions, and one of the team members said, I need this for YouTube. So I went in there and did a quick resize with the AI to resize all the assets to the YouTube size, and it was just like a one-click thing. So I think for practical production, cases like that, it's very useful. You can remove backgrounds, and of course you can make the AI imagery and things like that. But I use it more for kind of practical production things.
That's interesting, and a nice way to plug a IRL in the midst of that. Boy, they're off to a rough start. I mean,
Hopefully this is not an indication of
There's a lot of emojis going on in the chat there. I'm not really sure if there's a real high signal conversation going on in the
Right.
keynote chat.
It's basically like 90% emoji. Well, we are talking about creatives. I guess that's their way of communicating with.
No, that's not true. No.
Yeah. Come on, Brent. Come on.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like plaster all creatives like that, but
yeah,
no,
I feel like we're watching Instagram or something.
It is kind of weird though. I don't know.
What is going on there?
That doesn't make any sense. That many emojis.
Is that like one or two people trolling the chat? It's possible. Anyway, the other thing I'm going to be looking at, which is something that I always look at especially with the creative uses of AI, and I'll be shocked if there's not more AI news during the keynote. By the way, that would surprise me. But I want to hear a little bit about the creators and how creators' livelihoods are being supported by Canva. Canva has a pretty good, compared to the industry standard, artist compensation program for training their models on creative work. It's nothing special in my opinion, but it's way better than a lot of the other vendors do. And obviously all language models are trained on copyrighted work that has not been properly compensated. So that's an industry-wide thing. But I look at it especially for creators, because a lot of creators have had their gigs and jobs compromised or lost because of these tools. And so, I think some consideration for that is in order, because if you owe your tools to the creativity of individuals, and then those individuals no longer have their gigs because of the tools, I think it's fair to expect that would be commented on and discussed. So I know it's a tough conversation, but I think it needs to be part of the conversation. And by the way, that includes also evolving your skills and having success with these tools as well. So I'm not trying to paint a picture where no one can thrive anymore, but I do believe it's something that needs to be discussed. All
righty. We have some information coming from inside the room from our one and only Liz Miller. The countdown video is starting, and this sellout crowd of 6,000 creators is getting pumped. Why did I just sound like that?
Oh wow!
Usually not me. Okay.
Ivana says there's some real people in the chat. Awesome.
Yeah, and there's another real person joining us. It's the venerable Paul Greenberg.
Who's he?
We're glad to see you.
That's what venerable has to do with.
Let me first shout out Ivana. Yes, Ivana is. I can vouch for her. Ivana is a real person.
Oh, nice.
A real good person too. Nonetheless, but cool. It sounds like they're about to get started. So, Paul, we all kind of took a shot at what our expectations are, or at least what are we looking for. So, before they get going here, what are you looking for with this?
Well, I mean, look, I'm more of a user of, or was a user of Canva than I am a watcher of the company. But that said, it's interesting that there's some inkling that they want to move into the enterprise. I don't know what that means in terms of, does it mean they want to compete with Adobe? Does it want to mean that they're just on some path that is at least unknown to me, and maybe, Liz or Chanel or John or you, Brent, know more than I do on it. But I'm kind of open to seeing where they're going. I'm always a little concerned when I hear companies that just want to move to the enterprise, and then all of a sudden something happens, and I've never seen an inkling that says that they could do that, or they planned on doing that, or they have anything that wants them to do that. I mean, though I remember the way I knew Zoho was moving upstream years ago was that they announced a number of capabilities without saying they were moving upstream that were suited for the mid-market only and not small business at Zoholics 2018. Then
all right.
Okay, so.
All right, we got liftoff here, and Liz says there's 6,000 folks in the audience, which is really incredible, actually. Here we go.
And welcome to everyone tuning in right around the world. Wow, what a crowd. It is so good to be back with you all for our 5th Canva Create, broadcasting live from the YouTube Theatre here in Hollywood Park. And an extra... Yeah!
That's a lot of people. I don't think I feel comfortable sitting in there like that
roar
anymore.
is incredible, and I need you to do a good one because we need an extra special thanks to our house band, Wolves of Glendale.
Have you guys heard of them? I've never heard of these guys.
Wolves, how you doing?
They're not on my playlist.
To be here, crowd is unbelievable. Can we make
It's
as much noise
I
as
wouldn't
possibly
expect
can
a
right
wolf
now?
to be wearing a pink outfit, but you know,
Yeah.
could be wrong.
Geez, when I feel that energy at Canva Create, it reminds me that we truly have.
I have to admit, I have no idea who this guy
community
is.
in the world. Thank you for being here. Whether you
Is he the
are joining
CEO?
us for the
They're all
very first
co-founders
time,
of the company.
or
Okay.
whether you've been creating with us for years.
From the very beginning, our mission has been to empower the world.
Are they from Australia or something like that?
And today, more than 250 million people create with Canva. Individuals, small businesses, classrooms, nonprofits, and thousands of enterprises across 190 countries.
Got SAP up there, John.
Well, like I was saying, they got a good story there.
Over
Yep.
47 billion designs. That
Wow.
is, yes, that's incredible.
That is incredible.
over 463 designs
Not
every
quality, but
second.
not
And
all.
over the years, you've shown us
Right.
design
Yeah.
looks different for everyone. For some, it's how you grow your business, turning idea into something real that you can share with the world.
For others, it's how you teach, bring lessons to life for your students.
They got to be from
Some
Australia.
is deeply personal, like designing every detail for a big celebration exactly the way you imagined it. But underneath all of that, every single one of you comes here with the same goal, to turn an idea into reality.
For us, design has never just been about making something look good. Design is about giving form to an idea. It's how you turn your imagination into reality.
For Canva, creating a design was incredibly complex and fragmented. You had to use one tool to find a template, another to source fonts, another for stock photography, another for editing, and on and on. We thought there was a better way, and we brought everything you need to design into one platform, making it simple and accessible to the whole world. We have always believed that productivity
Hey, I was
and
right.
creativity shouldn't live in
There you
separate.
go.
But the magic is in the middle. So for the past decade, we've been bringing them together into one place. But now we're seeing something familiar again at a much larger scale. This time, it's not just design. The entire process of creation is broken across too many tools, tabs, and workflows.
Agree with him on that one.
Think about what it takes to create something today. You might get a great result from an AI tool, but it is one shot. You have to prompt and prompt again. Then you need another tool to manually format it. Now it's completely off brand because your brand guidelines live in a different place. And your data is scattered across platforms. So you're copying, pasting, running your 20th AI search, copying and pasting that too. Every time you switch apps, you lose the context you just built up. And every time the format changes, you start again. And then tomorrow, you do the whole thing over. Does that sound familiar?
Not really.
Well, at Canva, we love to make
This is what I wanted other vendors to do, which was to hammer it the problems with using off-the-shelf
This is something
chatbots
the community has been
for
asking
enterprise
for.
workloads, and they
So
haven't
many
done enough of it.
people
But they just did it
always
there.
get your job
It's even
done.
more effective if you can show it. I think it would have been good to show a visual there of the
27
design
billion times.
hassles of
Yeah,
that.
that's pretty cool.
So Chanel, that doesn't sound like your process.
And thanks to
What?
you
Not,
awesome
that's
people,
why I said not really.
we've become the third most used
But
AI
like
product in the
I've
world.
made really great stuff with AI tools like that I find much easier than Canva. But the catch is that
We feel like we
that doesn't scale in terms of brand guidelines.
So today, we are incredibly excited to unveil a generational leap forward for Canva, our biggest launch ever.
Uh-oh, buckle up.
Something that will save you countless hours. Something that will transform.
Are we strapped in, everyone?
This is it.
Something.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm strapped.
A lot of the wishes you have been making. Can I get a drum roll?
Why not?
Canva AI 2.0.
All that for Canva AI 2.0.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
That was, come on. Jeez.
Canva AI is now a true creative partner, bringing everything into one place so you can bring your imagination to life like never before. And it's built on the platform you already know and love. So now you can collaborate with your team wherever you're working in the visual suite.
Well, there it goes. Even though maybe they fixed that clumsiness up now. Let's see.
2.0's not clumsy. No way, man.
Use it in your presentation. Just write a prompt and it can create your strategy doc. It can even
That
help
was 1.0.
You can even use Canva
Mind blowing.
Right.
Nah.
Right, April.
to create a budget planner for a party
Nice.
and jump in with your team and collaborate.
The world's best AI now lives right where you're already creating. You can start right here on the Canva homepage, and you
What
can
the hell
do
is-
whatever
You,
you want to do with Canva.
really?
So far, this ain't mind blowing. Let's put it like
This is literally every AI tool I know inside of something else.
Our
Oh,
team
come on.
Hey, Zeus says the same thing. Even is saying, "Hey, hi, Zeus."
on what we are about to share with you. But before we do,
This sounds less
one
about
of our
marketing speak
incredible
at the moment.
engineering
Yeah, so far.
wrap-up
Hopefully it's more.
had a
It
beautiful
is a good
analogy
tool. I mean, but
that really touched
I liked it.
Well, you make promises of like mind blowing. You
Well,
can't.
Gotta be, yeah.
I was waiting to hear about the workflows and all those things that would take them to the enterprise.
Well, it's still early. We'll give them time.
Yeah, well, if we hear that, then
Hey,
pull
Mel,
it right out of the
I'd
fire.
love to.
Man, that is a really
It's like the Grammys.
yeah. It's a large thing. Yeah.
It's actually kind of a cool camera angle there.
That is a great camera.
Yeah.
Paul,
really like it.
Paul, before you came on, I talked about Phil Wainwright just wrote a collection of user stories on Diginomica about enterprise scale in Canva,
Yep.
and the stories are really good, but they have nothing to do with this next generation,
Right.
AI prompt thing.
Okay.
Nothing to do with that. Because of the enterprise, it's much more about things like scale and governance and
Right.
and creating according to various brand guidelines in different regions and all of that. Like it's about managing the design complexity, not about like simplifying everything into
Creators.
what would you like to build today
Right.
thing.
It's not the creator's tools.
Right.
All right, we have a little demo video here.
Oh my God.
I think that's a video. Is that real?
I meant a demo.
Everybody ready?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't like stuff like that. I don't know.
You guys just wish you were there. Come on.
I don't know.
No,
Well, it is the home of the Rams.
that's it. They circled.
Doesn't seem to be as much energy as you would expect. That I don't know. Maybe I'm a little.
It's more energy than you get at an SAP conference.
Well, there are levels to these
Conversational
things.
design.
Conversational design. All right.
I like the term.
Canva AI 2.0, you can design through a
It
simple.
looks like Fred Studer.
Just decide what you want to create, share a rough idea.
I was thinking. I was trying to figure out who he looked like.
This Fred Studer was like 25 years
No
ago.
longer limited by a blank page.
Except
or-
Fred's funny.
Everything
It's
starts
like
with
HR
one
doing a presentation.
conversation.
That's what you do expect companies like Adobe and Canva to have these really great presentations, creative and look good.
Your opera debut. Your opera debut.
We'll see.
Debut, yes. What agentic orchestration means is that Canva AI can now take actions on your behalf. Say you need to design a campaign. Canva AI can create, access, and tweak every element.
I mean,
it's
this
able to
is
decide-
fine as far as Canva goes. It's just so
and if you
what
choose, you
the-
can entirely choose an entirely different layout.
the world goes.
You can use it to start. a new design,
Thank you for our
when you're
correspondent, Liz Miller.
Agentic
In the
Live full orchestra. That's cool. That I like the live full orchestra.
Next up, we have
But all they're doing is playing like intro sounds.
A real harp.
the memory library. When you come
Really?
When you come to Canva AI for the first time, you'll be able to create your About Me. It will look at all of your existing designs and create a Canva doc about who you are and how you like to
Chanel, is that something that resonates with you?
Canva AI will use my About Me to personalize.
Well, what Ivana was saying about, I wanted to
and it will continue to
give my
update
copy and template and
your About Me
put it
is
to
the
template.
first
That would be
book
actually
in your
great.
library. Over the coming months, you'll be able to add more books to your library. Core memories like your ideas, goals, and preferences. Shared memories with others, and even your knowledge base.
So far, the enterprise term that I've seen so far is the agent orchestration, but I don't know what that really means to them.
By the way, memories are typically you're looking at some kind of knowledge graph store.
Right.
So essentially, it's looking at like organizing your thoughts into semantically related areas that can be accessed in the future.
Which is really accessible storage.
Right. That feeds back into the model because the model can't really keep track of all of that stuff like over the course of days without some help.
Well, I mean, I know it from use Claude's memory, which is the question to me is if you're dealing with AI in any instance, it's persistent memory, not memory.
Well, that's what the knowledge graph is for. But the challenge then is to serve up the right thing at the right time.
Well, also
in the future,
in-house Canva design
multiple use.
back in October. Canva AI now.
I'm giving them credit for how they're doing this because it's obvious that they have a pretty good relationship with their audience, individually as well as the company, and the people in the audience seem to be right there with them as they roll through this.
Today, we are bringing the full power of Canva AI to this incredible.
Oh, it's a cupcake.
That means your next design can start with inspiration from our marketplace, then come to life with Canva AI. You can jump into the editor, change any aspect of the design, and collaborate with your team at any time.
Yeah, I'm sure that they can store organizational memory as well, but it'll be interesting to see if they can touch on that because that's going to be key to their enterprise play that Paul is waiting for still.
All right, April is saying this is huge. All right.
These first four capabilities give you a completely new way to design with Canva, but we are just getting warmed up. To share the next 5 with you, let's welcome to the stage Steph, Carrie, and Jess.
Steph Curry?
No, Brent. Sorry, man.
Steph Harry. Steph Harry and
like I just watched the guy last night, dude.
Brent's like, wait, I get to watch Steph shooting threes. This is getting really
I take everything I said back.
Hi, I'm Carrie, and I'm a principal machine
Steph
learner.
Carey.
And I'm Jess, a principal product designer.
They're all dot roll.
You've just seen how
Two of the
Canva
three.
AI 2.0 works. But now let's look at what you can do with it.
Let's start with something we've all felt.
You know what? Presentations usually just are better just with an Australian accent involved. I really truly believe that.
Pulling it all together.
Well, I like the look and feel of the theater they're in.
That's we need to do that.
Yeah, next year IRL 2027.
And we can hire the orchestra too, because I really like this.
I'd like it if they actually played music rather than some little sound here and there. It seems to be an over waste of an orchestra. Underutilization of an actual orchestra.
I bet they'll jam later on.
Playing a sound effect.
Canva AI creates what
I mean, it's cute, but
there's context in mind.
I was expecting them to show how you could do things in ChatGPT or Claude that are directly aligned within Canva. Maybe they'll show that eventually.
they're kind of starting to move in that direction here.
We're extending what Canva AI's agentic orchestration can do within your workflow. So context from your designs can connect back to Slack and other AI tools your team
Memory,
is working with.
enterprise.
Next up is
Yeah, I agree with Liz. Yeah.
scheduling.
Yep. Except Canva hasn't mentioned that yet.
No,
Maybe they're going there.
You can now schedule.
well, that goes to what we were talking about earlier with persistence and memory.
Yep.
Even when you're
Liz is
offline.
right. It's just that's not where we're at the moment. They're more
Yeah.
focused on the
fresh set of social posts
Individual
every month.
design at this point.
Exactly.
Just schedule it, and it'll be ready.
But that
waiting
added
for you.
memory, the added context should help
These are
with that design at some point.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're basically talking about individual to, at best, small team workflows right now.
Oh, he's jamming on that. Was that an oboe?
Yeah. Why?
Every creative project has that moment when you have to stop and look something up. Now, Canva AI can do the research for you. No more searching, switching tabs, copy and pasting. It gives you a huge head start by pulling what you need from the web directly into your design right where you're working.
Of course, the information might not be correct, but let's not sweat that.
What do you want? Correctness too?
Canva AI
As long as it looks good.
brand intelligence.
Is Liz ahead of us or something?
Is who ahead of us?
Liz, she's saying.
Well, she's right in there. So
Here.
yeah, she's right in there. So.
We're on tape delay
I know.
compared to Liz.
This is like three.
Can we just ask Liz to go and take the mic and ask our questions directly?
So every team across your business can move fast and stay aligned, no matter what they're creating.
It would be interesting to try that.
Lastly,
If it
And this
actually,
one is for all the vibe coders out there.
Vibe coders. Here we go. That's kind of weak for vibe coding.
Canva Code 2.0.
Can we get some different naming conventions? The .o thought. I thought we were done with that.
Okay, we've made it easy to import anything into Canva. Word documents, PowerPoint presentations, PDFs. It's all instantly editable and collaborative. Today, we're taking that further with HTML and code import and editing. HTML is quickly becoming the format for AI-generated tools.
HTML.
But editing it often means regenerating everything from scratch.
Steph, this means we don't need a full rebuild just to change a button.
Exactly. No need for local servers, package manager.
14 tabs of Stack Overflow.
Okay. I love the passion. I really do. But what they're trying to
how
say
many times they practice these?
Yeah, that is
now you can bring any HTML.
always sounds so bad when they. Oh, I love the passion. I really do. That's what the script
Closely
says.
with Anthropic and OpenAI, so you can bring HTML files into Canva.
I just like the way
where
she
they
says
become
HTML.
Instantly editable in our drag and drop editor.
What was that?
Well, that got a round of applause.
That a good one, Chanel?
Forms
I think so, yeah.
responses in Canvas sheets, then publish straight to your own domain. You can also create interactive designs from scratch with HTML inside Canva code, and these can be included inside your designs. A launch countdown for your presentation, an interactive game, or maybe a poll to engage your audience, all without writing a single line of code.
Even is on board with this one.
Looks like we got a winner.
Canva code by asking Canva AI for what you want or access it straight from the homepage.
Whoa.
And there you have it.
I will say this. I like the casual way that they are presenting this as opposed to the kind of the more rigid enterprise settings.
I mean, I think it's much more attractive other than reading from scripts. So. Whoa.
I really like what they're doing with this, these views.
Now, remember that broken process of creation that we spoke about earlier? Canva AI 2.0 fixes that whole process. So, instead of one shot generation,
Did it echo them or is that us?
Yeah.
edit all layer by layer.
I'm not hearing it echo.
Between many tools,
You aren't?
agentic capability inside one workflow.
If
From
it's not, it
disconnect
got
red
choppy.
lines
I'll try
on
muting just in case. I don't think it's
data
me.
scattered everywhere.
No, it's them.
Data
Something there.
No more searching the distant reaches of the web, because now your research comes to you. And you won't lose context between
This
apps
is good.
because Canva AI now remembers how you work. All in one conversation, no matter what format.
Now that's really good.
And finally, for those tasks you repeat again and again, you can schedule them so the work doesn't stop when you do. Individually, each of these capabilities is incredibly powerful. But an orchestra isn't defined by its instruments.
True.
It's defined by what they create together.
Now you're going to get more of a. That's what you're going to get. Now that they've explained each piece, now they're bringing it together.
Liz laying the whole thing out.
Yeah, I'm looking at this.
Read it all.
Yep, the building blocks. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little hard pressed to think of them as a work productivity tool, to be honest, though. At this point, I mean, I'm not seeing things that tell me.
Beautiful. Thank you to all of our musicians.
Let's say this: if all of this happens,
and
it actually works.
maybe.
Or remember when Adobe was pushing the content supply chain?
Yeah.
It feels like this is kind of a very watered down version of that, maybe.
Well, I mean, Adobe also has actual work productivity tools.
Exactly.
Right. This is not that yet. I mean, I see where Liz is going with it, and I get a point too.
Yeah, and maybe AI helps to create a different one that Adobe was starting to put together.
It certainly is. I think it's a good summary from Liz of where Canva wants to be.
Right. I think that,
and then you kind of compare against that.
Yeah, it's kind of simple. If your business typically sounds something like this. Yeah, not good, right? Rise or low. Once Nicole has woven her magic, it sounds a little more like this.
I'm hearing an echo again.
Way more fun, right?
I don't hear an echo. I hear a hiss.
Perfect.
No, I actually hear an echo.
I'm so excited to show you how Canva AI's new connectors and scheduling help me turn chaos into clarity and make it look beautiful in the process. Every month, my team is responsible for collating all the good vibes across the business.
Do our live stream viewers hear an echo? Let us know.
Yeah, even April, Liz. Well, Liz might.
Incredible things that happen this
If
month.
you hear an echo, let us
The
know.
problem is, pulling it together used to take the better part of
$350 a month?
digging through slides, chasing
That's
people down
crazy.
to trying to make sure nothing got missed. Turns out a lot of you have experienced the same thing and have been wishing for a better way. Let me show you how Canva AI changes everything with
Yeah,
just one
okay.
prompt. I'll upload a brand template and ask Canva AI to create our April newsletter by populating this template with the latest team news from the past month across Gmail and Slack. Canva AI has activated connectors and it's sweeping through my apps, every Slack channel, every email thread. This step alone has saved me hours. It's automatically.
See, Gemini is doing that automatically.
Yeah. So it's pretty much everything we're using.
And it's beautifully designed.
They
Right from
just
the
have
first
better
step.
design tools here.
Now I
Weird.
can jump in and add the details only I know. An inside joke from the LA office. A shout out from someone's big moment I've just heard over lunch. I can
So,
also bring in the
Does
team.
Canva have
really
tools
crafted
like
design.
these
The
tools
AI-powered
to say,
elements generate something custom.
figuring out a writing
for our
style?
newsletter. But here's the part I love the most.
I don't know.
This newsletter runs monthly, so now I
If you're just
schedule it.
generating a newsletter
For
from
the first Monday of
stuff
every
into
month,
Gmail,
AI automatically has a month's worth.
I mean,
of
that's
news
useful, but
stories,
you're going to end up with a lot of rewrites.
which means I
Yeah.
have time to create so much more
Like
content. We can take a story from the newsletter and
who they're
ask
targeting
AI
because
to
like, it's
turn it into an
regular
Instagram post.
it's more
Then
of a
resize
tool
it
set
for
for
LinkedIn.
marketing and design, but it's
What's
not
on section into a post.
leaning in heavily to like market to a designer who wants more nuance that you get from
New good vibes could be this well organized.
oh, can you use like vector images now? Can you make a vector image? Like, is it going to translate my design more accurately? when I upload
One
it?
should go. Please welcome Larry and Tom.
What I was looking for as a-
It just sounded like you were talking while underwater, Chanel.
Oh, really?
It was
I'm
hard to
Larry,
hear you.
head of enterprise sales.
I think part of it's over them.
I'm Tom,
Oh,
creative
yeah.
director of our Europe.
Talk loud.
Now, in sales, speed is critical. to success.
Even is not a fan, apparently.
It's about our brand being
I would not call that a ringing endorsement.
even when we're moving fast.
Well, that, I mean, again, if you're going to be a productivity tool, that writing part needs to be pretty good.
But you have not tried Canva AI 2.0 yet.
People like Larry.
So how dare you say that?
I'm working on 3.0.
and see the brands that we've so lovingly crafted fall apart, one rogue font at a time.
Have they focused anything like a significant amount of time on actual orchestration or workflow automation or process? I haven't heard any of that kind of stuff.
Now, with Canva AI new
yet,
intelligence,
but
we can create at pace.
I guess the other question I have for Canva, and again, I'm thinking more in terms
Let
of
me show you how it works.
Enterprise and workflows and things like that, is how good is the collaborative part of Canva?
Pro designers have got access.
I mean, how working with other teams and stuff. I don't know because I use it as an individual contributor. But I'm curious as to how good it is on collaboration.
And now things are going next level because Canva brand kits are now connected to Affinity.
yeah, everybody is going to want to link to their LLM of choice and then do everything through that, as opposed to learning a whole bunch of new ones with every app that they use. It's a tough one.
Craft stays consistent.
Well, again, I mean, I'm sure it's adding. It's interesting. It's adding a lot of tools to theoretically make things
normally me pulling in
better, but it seems to be adding a ton of complexity too.
Like Tom. But now I can open Canva AI and type creative pitch deck for a meeting tomorrow with Snowflake.
I don't do this for a living either, so I don't know.
Scale and speed to market. And very importantly, Larry's going to use the brand template.
Yeah, we noticed that there, Liz. It did get a big cheer.
Yep. The very first slide. I'll add a chart and
how did she know that like 20 minutes ago?
Match the rest of the day. Love it. Now let's personalize it.
She's got
using
powers.
Canva AI's new research powers. I just ask it to search for snowflakes.
I mean, this is really cool. I mean,
this right here.
Well, it's interesting. It's not really our
new edition.
Forte, but
normally it
no.
would have taken me all night and a few intense chats with Tom about the size of a logo. But now Larry can move fast and I can rest assured.
Rogue font.
The brand will be as consistently brilliant.
What's a rogue font?
And that's just one pitch. I've got 5 more lined up. Let's see if there's any big news that my meetings next week. Usually, I spend hours researching.
I thought there were some pirates out there selling the fonts.
Yeah, sure.
But not anymore because Canva AI is.
Those I'm very well acquainted with.
I just asked for my latest news for my 5 biggest clients, and all the research I need is together in one place.
Well, that's not all that Canva AI can do. What happens when you apply its powers to something even more personal? Like, say, planning the biggest day of your life?
To show you, please welcome Allie.
A wedding planning?
I think so.
Hey, I'm Allie. I'm part of the leadership operations team here at Canva. And it has been a busy time for us here. These keynotes, they don't just plan themselves. As well as planning this by day, I'm also planning my wedding. Thank you. I'm planning it by night. In England, from Sydney, across multiple time zones. So, totally chill, no stress, everything is fine. We know so many of you in our community are in the same position, wishing for a better way to manage all the moving pieces of a big event. Let me show you how I've been leaning on Canva AI. I've been using the new coding ability to create a fully interactive website from scratch. Not just any old website, something custom built that will make our guests feel part of our big day. I'll ask Canva AI to create a wedding website for me and Harriet. Include a section for guests to submit their favorite wedding songs. I'll upload some images for inspiration. Without having to code a thing, our first draft can track RSVPs, document all the essentials, and even build a playlist with the help of our family and friends. From here, I can jump into the editor to make sure all the details are just right. And we're ready to publish. Let's leave a song. Let's leave a song request, shall we? Oh, any ideas?
Somebody just yelled something
some
out.
good suggestions. It's all connected to a Canva sheet.
Billy Idol White Wedding.
Every RSVP and song submission is automatically logged. But that doesn't mean every...
I never take my playlist, so it's nothing personal.
I was about to say they want a ringtone for their wedding song.
I hate when I get phone calls in the middle of shows.
I thought that was the wedding song they chose.
Harriet's happy.
A ringtone.
Next, the invites. Let's start fresh. I'll go back to the
I can
home.
guarantee it's going to take more than one iteration
Wedding
for Bride to
based on this
create
photo,
invitations off
plan
Canva,
our
like,
venue.
especially the AI generated.
Canva AI
Right, yeah.
is great to work. And just like that, we have 5 gorgeous options.
Which I don't like any of them, unfortunately.
I was like, I don't know. We gotta start
They look
with
kind of dated to me.
They look like romance novel covers.
There you go. Maybe that's what they were going for.
Yeah, should not do that for a wedding invite.
Looking perfect. So let's send them to
I get the funny feeling that I'm not invited. I know this is awkward time to bring that up, but
is write my vows.
You mean you didn't get your invite yet?
no, I did not. Checking my inbox.
Here amongst friends.
Well, I thought I was. I got number 3, but it turns out they were actually using number 4.
But there are still some things that are worth doing yourself.
I think they can do a little more work on the demos, to be quite honest. This is not.
Well, it's also the scripting is just horrible.
Even when you're on stage in LA, vows should probably come from the heart.
Oh, even likes this. Okay.
Harriet would
Canva printing.
definitely
Okay.
But it
Yeah,
won't
that's
stop
an
you
important
using
point
Canva
by
AI
Liz.
to design the place cards
Yep.
and create
That
the
makes sense, yeah.
seating chart
Non-traditional
and create all the
design.
signage for the big day. That's next on my list once I wrap up.
Are the traditional designers from that are Adobe focused? Are they
2.0
significantly
all comes
making
together.
moves to Canva?
But there's also the Apple crowd too. Can't forget those guys. I don't think they're going to make moves to Canva though. Big.
I wouldn't expect.
Oh,
sorry, Shannon.
I'm just saying, I think they're using Canva too, but I don't think they're giving up Adobe.
Right.
They want to use it. You know?
I mean, once you get used to something, it's hard to move unless there's a big financial reason to do so.
Well, and look, if you're a pro and you have all the licenses you need, then why would you bother?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you might experiment with it for certain things, but I think Canva's play is truly what Liz is talking about, is reaching people who, for whatever reason, like nonprofits, the licenses are out of scope, or they just don't have quite the design skills to master those programs. I mean, some of those programs are very sophisticated for the non-pro, you know.
Oh yeah.
Which makes it interesting. Like, which direction do they focus heavily on? That non-traditional designer market, or trying to go upstream and getting that big money from like mid-market and enterprise firms?
Well, so the use cases I was talking about actually do both, because they're going into enterprise settings, but going into non-design roles inside those companies, and getting big signups based on bigger teams that don't usually use the classic tools.
So that's like an SAP, like you're talking about. Yeah.
I think the tension is more in terms of the messaging here. To what extent do they appeal to the audience, which is much more wanting to hear about how to make their design easier, versus the enterprise decision maker, which wants to hear about scale and governance and brand guidelines and all the things that we haven't heard as much talk about so far today.
Yeah, this has definitely not been focused on that so far.
And step 2, do the most good we can.
But most events also have more than one keynote too, so it's important to keep that in mind.
Even loves the demo. Okay, that's cool. The Build Me social post graphics. Okay, good.
Make the social engagement faster.
We speak with our partners here directly. We also make Canva's premium product free.
How long has Canva been around?
Universities and non-profits around the world.
Like 5-6 years or something like that, maybe longer.
It's definitely more than 5.
This is now amounted
The
to
founders
over
look
$2
young.
billion worth of product
2012 was when it was founded.
Yeah.
2012.
But
Okay.
our two-step
Wow.
plan isn't about philanthropy alone. Striving to do the most good we can do touches everything we do: our decisions, our operating model, and our products. From day one, we wanted to ensure we could truly empower the whole world to design, so that regardless of where you live or your income, you can express your ideas. I'm pleased to say our next launches reflect our two-step plan in action. Please welcome Lindsay to share our next launch.
Hi, I'm Lindsay from Canva's education team. We believe that education is the great equalizer, that where you're born should not determine who you're able to become, and that every student, not just a lucky few, deserves access to the best learning tools in the world. That world is changing rapidly. The jobs our students will work, the problems they'll solve, we can't fully picture them yet, but preparing them for what's ahead, that's more important than ever. I actually started my career as a 6th grade English teacher, so I've seen this firsthand. Woo! The way students are taught can shape their entire future. Educators are spending their spare time and their own money creating content their students will actually care about.
Oh, wow.
It's a really, really tough job. And we understand that, which is why ever since 2020, we've offered Canva education to K-12 teachers, students, and
All right,
schools
friends.
100%
I'm off to my
free.
obligations.
Thank you for hanging out for a few there, sir.
It was really nice to chat with you, and I want to give a big shout out to the chat itself, not just Liz, but you got a really great informed group of audience members here that have made us all smarter, so that was fun.
That's the plan, man.
Have a great one. Long live the watch party. See you again soon.
See you tomorrow on your show, man.
Eu também tive que descomplicar. Eu levanto o tema, jogo a bola para eles pesquisam,
What language is this, Paul?
I couldn't see it fast enough.
Essa é a parte bonita, né? Mas tem muita coisa por trás.
Quickly looked like Portuguese, but I wasn't
Deixa eu
sure.
te contar o que aconteceu outro dia. Cheguei tardão em casa, tive que preparar uma aula toda do zero. Foi aí que eu cliquei no Canva, na ferramenta de IA, com 3 cliques eu tinha a aula toda pronta, com imagens, conteúdo, toda segmentada.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Menos tempo preparando aula e mais tempo.
April's really added a lot of good context and perspective that I didn't have.
When I taught university, a lot of my students use Canva for their assignments, so it is good for education.
Cool.
Easily accessible if you don't have the money to have a paid subscription.
Yeah, I mean, I know dozens of people in the enterprise world who use Canva for themselves, for the most part. More for personal use, I would say.
Learning content.
But their good news is that makes them familiar with it.
The Learn Grid.
The Learn Grid.
Oh, that's the title.
Browse our library of thousands of ready-to-teach learning resources. They're available in 16
that's actually
different
cool.
languages and mapped to the curriculum that you teach. You can use it like a grid. Mix and match your grade, subject, and learning objective to generate unique activities, worksheets, games, whiteboards, you name it, all tailored to your class. Let me show you. Let me show you how I'd use this in my classroom. I'd open Learn Grid. I'd search for what I'm teaching. I'd filter down to my grade and subject, and right away I'd find a presentation that's already mapped to my curriculum. But let's say I want something that my class can actually play around with.
This is a really interesting
Next, I generate a sorting activity.
Especially given that it's even at
Already built
grade
in,
level.
but I can personalize it to make it that much more relevant to my students.
There we go.
As the last step, I can hit publish so that I can share it with my class.
I like this.
And their answers will feed straight into a Canvas sheet.
That
so
is
I can
really
track their progress
interesting.
without going anywhere else. Last, I can even generate a quick homework task. Just one click to assign a worksheet to every student, and I can check in and give feedback as they go. And there you have it, an entire lesson done in minutes.
Special.
That was really cool.
That is special. And that's important.
Although I would be interested to know how deep does that information go? Like, when you're trying to teach someone, like, is it surface level or like how much?
And that's why
effort
we're
will the
not
teacher put
actually
into
watching
going
Learn
beyond what's in the template or what they
it
offer.
available
you.
to
Well, I would have to imagine that there's a way to import a curriculum or something like that too.
Yeah, and as time goes on, as people add to this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Everything Canva has built.
Again, I mean, ultimately, anytime I see AI nowadays, I just thinking around. I'm always
wherever they
my
are
biggest.
in the world.
Okay, this is
wait
going to
to
work
see
is
how Learn
persistent
takes
memory
education
for
to
everything.
new places.
I mean, it's literally
And
my
speaking of new
not my sole
places,
focus, but
one
it's
of
a
our
big
colleagues,
focus
JP,
to
has
see
been
if it has it.
about to prove that you
Because
truly
the
can
difference is
design
night and day in terms of the value of AI at that point. And in this case, I don't know if it's persistent memory, but it does have cumulative resources, shared and cumulative resources, which might be really secondarily as good.
I love April's name, the Strategic Oracle. Surface level right now, I use it as introduction to topic or test knowledge. I bet a year from now, that's going to be really a much more richer experience for that as people
I
use
love
it.
the idea of what they have there.
Come on, man. Get out of here with
It's that orchestra playing that ringtone again.
Everyone's going to be so excited.
Is he going to walk on stage?
Yes.
Yep. How'd you know?
We've
seen this a time or two.
I was about to say, you know, the idea of a trope.
Hello, everyone. I'm JD, and it is so good to see you. This is one of our most requested features ever. So many of you right across the world have been wishing for a way to keep things moving, to stay productive, and keep the creativity flowing when you're offline, just like Blessing.
Hi there. I'm Blessing Oluchukwu. I'm a writer and nonprofit leader based in Lagos, Nigeria, and I live on Canva. The thing about working for my little corner
What a
of the world
view.
is
Could you imagine
internet,
doing your work
connectivity,
with that view?
and I feel my creative
No.
flow, doing my
That was
thing,
awesome.
feeling myself, and suddenly network disappears. And that hurts so much because I could lose all the progress I've made with my work. That is why I wish for an offline version of Canva. That would go a long way for me and for other creatives like me who are suffering from the same challenge. So thank you so much, Canva, for listening to your community. Peace.
For years, you, the Canva community, have been asking for a better way. So I'm stoked to finally introduce you to
offline.
Canva Offline.
I like that name better than Canva 2.0.
That's a big one, though.
We all know that feeling. You're in the zone, the ideas are building, and then the internet drops. Whether you're on a train with no signal, in a classroom with patchy Wi-Fi, or somewhere in the world where a stable connection just isn't possible. As Blessing described, creative flow is everything. And unstable internet, it shouldn't stop you from creating. But now, with just one click, you can make any design available offline. And once you're offline, you can keep editing. You can write some new copy, add another page, or add an image. You can keep designing with all your essential
On the paid or the
tools,
free account?
no signal needed.
The interesting question to me is, when you're offline, can you use AI? I bet you can't.
And the moment you're back online,
That's local
Canva syncs and
control.
saves your offline changes instantly.
I like
So you
what
can
April
keep
is saying.
creating
I'm
no
guessing
matter where you are.
Adobe has most of the American market
This
still
is what we mean
snapped
when
up,
we
but
talk
she's
about
saying
doing the
Canva has a
most
lot
that
of
we can. Not just
folks
building
from
powerful
outside the
tools,
US as
but
their
making
user base.
sure
That makes sense.
Everyone with an
This is
idea
gonna help with
they
that.
want to bring to life. And speaking of bringing ideas to life, our next launch will help you do that, quite literally. To show you, please welcome Melissa.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ivana.
Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa, head of print here at Canva. We're constantly expanding what it means to design anything and publish anywhere, because we believe that bringing ideas into the world is the best way to improve it. Print is one of the most powerful ways people make their
Did she say
ideas
Prince?
real.
I thought
The moment your idea becomes something you can hold in your hands. And every month, millions of people already use Canva Print to achieve their goals, like Mark, who's using Canva Print to share important stories with the world.
My wife Anna and I lived and worked in Tanzania a couple of years, and 3 of our 6 kids were adopted from there. And so the mission of Forever Projects is super close to our hearts. Forever Projects stops families being separated because of poverty. And so the solution is creating income for women so they can nourish their babies and keep families together. Early on, people didn't really understand what we were seeing in Tanzania. To be able to cut through and really land a message, it's got to be visual. We're super excited for Canva to continue to help us and our community find epic ways to share these stories and to accelerate our mission and impact. We've just turned 10, and our Forever Projects community has raised $2.5 million for the mission, and that's enabled 3,000 babies and 2,250 women across 6 cities to stay together forever.
Wow.
Stories like Mark's are exactly why we do this. But you've told us you want more ways to bring your ideas to life. So it's my pleasure to introduce the Canva Print Shop. It's a new way to print built right into Canva for everyone on every plan across all devices. In the new Canva Print Shop, you can browse by product, get personalized recommendations, and see what's available in your region. Then go straight into designing. Your entire brand kit comes with you. Fonts, colors, assets, everything you need to keep it perfectly on brand. So you can drop in your logo, update the copy, and in just a few minutes, it's ready to print. Preview your design, add to your cart with a click, and your order is on its way to you. All of this underpins something we're really proud of, our One Print, One Tree initiative. It's a simple idea.
April's not feeling this one from me.
Every print order place.
Financial point of view.
If you know about your local vendor or other online vendors that you've been using, you can price compare and know that.
And thanks to
people who don't usually
already planted 16 million trees.
I don't know, even sounds like it's expensive though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's basically
I'm also thrilled to
build
share
yourself a
that Canva
customized
is now
T-shirt.
back in
Anytime you do anything custom, it's just expensive.
Right, and they end up shipping you a T-shirt.
Yeah.
So they're providing the materials. You're actually designing the whole thing.
Unless you create something in bulk, there's no way to get away from an individual piece costing a lot.
Well, for example, it would be interesting to see
and now
like how much the IRL T-shirts would have cost if we did it that way.
Right here at Canva Create.
That would be
a
interesting.
lot more too.
Yeah, a lot more.
Yeah, so it's not really. It's,
hey everybody!
So what?
I'm
Another
here
way
at
for
the
Canva to
go-to-market
make
at
money.
Canva Create, and everything you see around me, designed and printed by Canva's Print Shop. Hot off the press! We have so much to explore. Over 60 products.
I would think that they would try to find a way to make it affordable for their user base to do this.
No matter your goal,
It doesn't
you
sound
can
like
start
that's the
making it
case though.
real. Merch for your new business, posters for a local community event, invitations for that big.
Ivana is a fan of April, and so are we. She's a strategic oracle for crying out loud.
That's right. You think if she was on an Oracle watch party, she'd be a strategic Canva?
And Cam.
What would we call Larry Ellison?
Thanks, Kelly.
I don't know.
That outfit.
The biggest leap
I like that outfit.
in Canva's history.
Was it made? Was it printed?
Everything
With Canva?
Canva print shop. It costs $22,000.
More people than ever.
Oh, check out the jacket. It's not a golden hoodie. It's a silver.
I'm telling you, man. Golden hoodies, the great idea to steal from America's Got Talent.
You make sure you can design
Best
wherever you are with Canva.
Yeah, I have a suspicion there's a price increase coming with some of this stuff.
Let me go check my account right now.
And if you check right now, we've already billed you.
Wait a minute.
Your ideas into reality. And we plan to do a lot more of that over the years to come. So keep telling us what you wish for. Tell us what Canva AI is doing well, where it needs to improve, and how it can help you.
I mean, Chanel, given there are things it sounds like you do appreciate in this, but if the cost goes up significantly, do you feel it's worth the stuff that's coming out that you like?
People who find the secret way.
I mean, I would have to evaluate because I do have clients that are using it and need the the assets that from their brand in there. So it would be difficult for me to collaborate with them if I didn't have it. So I guess I would have to.
Damn, they're doing a lot of the price increases if that's the case.
$144 a month.
What is that? What does that get you though?
That went way up from what I was.
Well, I don't know if that's for pro because I think I'm gonna pay $144 a month.
I remember I paid for a subscription for pro. It's like $179 a year when I paid for it.
Yeah.
There is a
for a month. Maybe that's like super premium. Right.
Some say it will replace human thinking and creativity.
Okay, I guess this is their
But
AI
is quite
pitch,
the
yeah.
opposite. We believe that AI can amplify human thinking and creativity. Technology has always been defined by the people.
Oh, per year, yeah. That sounds right.
There are choices we can make with the products.
So that's what about
to build.
It's like 14
20 a month.
use
Yeah, about 20 a
We
month.
can choose to uplift people and solve humanity's greatest challenges.
Wait a minute,
We
it's
can choose to
144 a year and
educate
250 a
every
year.
child
What is that?
And unlock our true potential.
Oh, is Pro 250? Is that what you mean?
Oh, Canva Pro is $119.99 a year.
Learn their ideas,
Canva Business is $200 per user per year.
strengthen communities,
And Enterprise is
empower
custom pricing,
students,
which ranges from $20,000 to $50,000 annually.
Damn,
care,
that's a big step up.
that will shape our future. So the question isn't,
That's current.
what will AI do? It's what will we do with it? What will we choose to design together?
So thank you so much for being here with us today.
My Lord, man, they did
Before we go, we still have one last envelope to open.
They were late
More
starting,
of your
so.
wishes to grant.
I thought it was 1:30. That's why I got on when I got on.
Finale
No, it was 1 o'clock. We were wondering where you were.
Please give
I,
us
I had
a
1:30 down, and I remember asking you.
Glendale.
I know why. I thought it was.
Hey, I'm so sorry. There seems to have been some sort of misunderstanding here. Just bear with me for one moment. Cam.
Guys, what's going on?
Cam, I thought we weren't doing a musical number this year because we did one last year, right?
Yeah, but it was so incredibly awesome last year. We want you to do it bigger and better this year.
I just love that Australian accent. I got, man,
5 minutes.
I gotta
ask Fred if he ever had an Australian wife.
Guys, just have Canva AI 2.0
Okay.
help you out. I've uploaded 41 wishes into Canva AI. You have the tools. You can dream it. You can do it.
Wow, Cam, that was like poetry. And slightly ominous with the
hands.
Yeah, still back there.
It's still going.
What are they doing?
I have never heard of these folks before.
How does this work?
Does anybody know any of their songs?
What are you talking about?
Something like, I don't know, Canva AI. Let me see a ballerina dancing to some classical music.
I do not think that's how it works. You
It's
just
like a real thing
ballerina.
now. I knew it. God Almighty, they're so predictable.
Yeah, they could have left this off.
Well, no, it's okay, but it's like, don't.
Well, we know it was bogus.
Yeah, it was
Because he just said, I thought of something, and there it is. Yeah,
I want
okay.
IBM rehearse a word like that. Rehearse something.
I mean, I have to hand it to you. I did not think that was going to work.
Tom, you just gotta believe.
It actually worked.
You can dream it. We can do it.
Right. Okay, well, if that's the case, let's try this. Here we go. Hey, Canva AI 2.0. We're at Canva Create 2026, and we totally forgot to write a musical finale. Can you help us write lyrics for a song incorporating the 41 wishes that we still have to grant? Please. Wow, that was so fast. Okay.
Gee, that was fast.
Should we give it a go? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, Eric, hit us with something.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
It's pretty good that they're actually looking at the lyrics without looking at the lyrics. They're doing this.
This is great. Let's go for it. Okay. We packed a bunch of brand new features into really catchy.
I mean, he's looking at a pretty big screen, though.
I was about to say it's amazing. That's so
will go wrong.
Oh, that's really
So
stupid.
much awesome stuff in Canva AI 2.0.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom now.
This is why we've never heard of them.
Here we go. It adds red images that I knew.
They would have lost BYOB by a lot. They would have come in 11.
I'm guessing they must be pretty popular, though.
Why?
They're on stage here? I don't know. It's amazing that the graphics are aligned right with the song and the lyrics.
Yeah.
This is actually going way better than I thought this would go.
Same. I just wish we had made some merch to commemorate the moment, too.
Great call.
Wow.
Canva. Design a Wolves of Glendale Canva Create
Wolves
2026
of
merch
Glendale. Never heard of it.
That looks rad.
That's their name, I guess.
Print it.
Yeah, Wolves of Glendale.
I mean, look at them. This is amazing.
Wow, the shirt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Change the source component, it'll update everywhere. Turn your photos into videos, make sure the links to share.
I mean, Brent, think about BYOB.
That you can use it
Those videos compared to this.
Design and send
People are looking pretty dead out in that audience. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's terrible. This guy's terrible.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yep.
The merch
time
pieces are
to
nice.
stop.
That's
Yes,
quick.
I
We
was
changed the
thinking
shirts
that.
to feel more metal. Bingo. Canva, please. Yeah.
Way better, right?
I like that.
Print it.
Hey, while we're here, is there anything else that we want to add to these shirts?
Oh, could we try?
Those weren't the
to
same
make
two wearing the other shirts, were they?
retro vaporwave style?
If it was, they changed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Let's go with Y2K. I want furry dice, lava lamps, CDs, and chain wallets.
Okay, this is cool, but maybe Chrome, maybe everything in Chrome instead.
Maybe some flames for good measure?
Yeah.
Printed.
I mean, that's amazing. You gotta go.
Those were they the same people? I'm losing it.
I'm
Was
really,
that like so?
what amazes me is this is clever.
The Wiggles. The Wiggles. Sounds like something from the Flintstones.
Your email just got better and Magic Video 2.0 has said additional languages.
That was awful.
This is good. This is really good.
This is kind of long.
This is very long.
Well,
And
we still have.
like my boy's main source used to say, I'd be looking for the front door by
Yeah,
this
but I'm
point.
getting kind of bored of the groove. Can we mix it up a little bit?
Hey, why don't
yeah,
the
it's a good
three of
idea.
us go get some
Canva,
lunch?
put me a usable genre wheel that I can play and interact with.
I don't even know who the Wiggles are, but apparently even in the Oracle are all on it.
They're K-pop, to be honest, please.
That would be so hard.
Pretty hard.
She watched a lot of the Wiggles.
I'm way too old to know what that
And if we're
is.
doing some pop punk Canva AI, I gotta see some big 90s mohawks.
Please mercifully end this. Oh no.
Oh, come on.
What the hell is that?
Kind of like a secondhand embarrassment.
They really, really need to quit.
All right, let's end it.
Guys, look at the audience. They're completely disengaged.
Yeah, they're like, can we?
The audience wants to leave. This is like, oh, come on. You're going to keep doing
How long is this gonna go?
this? Boy, do they not know when to quit.
Now they got cowboy hats on. We gotta end this because we got Dr. Michael Wu coming up. Jeez, come on, fellas, let's end this thing.
On the end of a fishing line. I want the photo editing panel completely redesigned, and we're singing, "Yee-haw, you." There's nothing that you can't do.
They're every bit as good as NBA dancers.
Craziest thing. Now we got custom prompts with presenter notes and magic rap. If you can dream it, we can do it. All right, Canva AI.
Yeah, they at least sounded a little like Crosby, Stills, Nash.
Galloping across the stage.
I've been in full cringe mode.
This is total.
Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. I'm so sorry.
You're done. Yay.
And even though Canva AI would be able to summon live horses, it would be able to do that. It'd be too risky. Think about the cleanup.
Ugh. Cleanup.
But what we could do is ask the country dancers to do a classic two-step for fun while Ethan pretends to be one of those southern
when is this
speed
supposed to
auctioneers
end?
to read off 9 wishes in a row.
Oh, we can cut it any time.
I'm about ready to cut this. We got to do a wrap up. So sorry, fellas. You continue to do your thing, and we'll get right to the wrap up. So let me let these guys go. All right, let me get
wow.
Here too. All right. Chanel, give us your first impressions of all that you heard for this.
I mean, I feel like they added a lot of new features, which will be beneficial to a lot of people. Like we were saying before, it's like who are they actually targeting? It seems like it's more of the non-designer, and for people like me who maybe wanted them to lean in more to the nuances that we were looking for that aren't there. I didn't necessarily see that, but in terms of integrating with other tools and making all the things work together, I think it's just a matter of testing it out and seeing for yourself if it works, because I think that's the only way you'll really know if it's effective for your unique scenario. Like when I do this and I test it out, is it actually helping me or is it hindering me?
That's really cool. Before I get Paul's, April, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad we came across your feed.
Thank you, April.
Because you added a ton in the comments. Lots of great, particularly having hands-on experience and the perspective you brought to this. This is really great.
And please connect with us all on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, Strategic Oracle. You get a special hand clap for that. I truly enjoyed saying that throughout this whole
name. Perfect title.
All right, Paul, what did you? I know you didn't see the whole thing, but what
I mean, I saw the opening. They didn't prove enterprise to me at all, particularly. Now, to what Brohammer said, which I actually did read yesterday, which Phil Wainwright's article.
Yeah, I got to read that.
Yeah, it actually does make a decent case for the success they've already had in the enterprise. So obviously the potential's there. This was, to Chanel's point, they were addressing an audience of non-designers and people in much smaller businesses than the enterprise, one way or the other, mid-sized, small businesses, other people put it, I think as Liz put it, and people who, to your point again, Chanel, want nuance maybe in certain things. They also were doing what they had to do, which was bring in AI, right? And they had to do something with AI. They did, to be honest, they did the same basic AI things that everybody who has to do something with AI does for their particular, technology or application or platform. They just adjusted it to their stuff, but it's literally, you could literally extract their approach, and it's the same approach that companies who don't truly necessarily get it, but need it, want to do, and they did that. But beyond that, I'm always impressed with it because it's a good platform, and I like what it does. And my limited experience with it was, fun, but I didn't have any actual use for it long term. On the other hand, as somebody who's reviewing, the world of enterprise technology, I didn't see anything that made me think that they're a long-term success there. I do. On the other hand, they did do some interesting stuff, and I will say the best of the best thing that they did, the singular best thing, was the learning, the school and learning stuff. And to your point, Chanel, I think with at least some sort of memory capability, and again, it's not persistent memory, but it's storage memory, really, they'll be able to accumulate the content they need to make that thing really pop.
Yeah. I'll just add, because I see Dr. Michael Wu in the green room there. I'll just add that I think they are also speaking to an audience of non-designing content creators who have kind of come to them because they do make the content creation process easier. But they also needed to add the AI component because we are going into and using a lot of different tools and they feel disconnected. And you want to have some of these things more integrated in order to put your product out there, which is some sort of a content piece. And so I think what they've done, at least what I've saw, does that. It does give people who aren't AI coders and actual designers kind of one place to do the things that they need to do without having to be an expert in the things that they have to do. I think that is really big for them. I'm agreeing with you, Paul, around I didn't see much when it comes to going upstream, like we traditionally see when we go to our stuff. But I think they are on to something and they have an audience. And I think the Brohammer is right, too. I think there's the audience of people who are working in the enterprise that aren't designers, that aren't traditional content creators, that do want to be able to put things together quickly and seamlessly and without having to jump through a bunch of places. And there are a lot of people in the enterprise like that. So I think they do have an opportunity to get in. And guess what? We even have our in-room correspondent checking in with us right now.
What's
There she is.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
We can hear you. Tell us what was it like in there, and tell us what your thoughts were throughout that whole thing.
I got to tell you, they're popping balloons.
Oh, no.
He's still on the floor. We got doused with balloons here, and they got to pop them before the next session. But here's the thing. This is an audience that's interesting. So it was really interesting being in this room because you had the small business folks, you had the mid-market folks, you had non-traditional designers, you had independent studio owners who their bread and butter has counted on being able to close the margin on how much it used to cost to design for them. They are now opening up this world of new tools where their work goes faster. And I think every time we heard a big cheer, every time this room got rocking, it was around those little moments that made their work that much easier. And I think the easy thing to do about Canva is to focus in on the design tools. The hard thing is to wade through all of those comparisons that feel comfortable to us and look at things like Canva Docs, right? Look at things like being able to, a sales team being able to create a presentation that's on brand, but they're doing it without waking up a designer in the middle of the night. All of those little problems that we tend to forget about when it comes to actually working in engagement and working in how we actually get things to look the way they look, to print the way they look. It's hard work. And I think that all the folks in here are so focused on the work that the tools have to be just seamless. And that's really what Canva's trying to do. What I will say about this room, this is how marketing always used to feel. And Canva kind of gets that. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to have balloons dropping from the ceiling. It's supposed to have, there was a huge group of students here. I mean, they got front row seats. They got some of the best seats in the house, all wearing blue sunglasses, cheering because they're high school students. And they're seeing a different path forward because of what they're being empowered to see here about how they can do work differently. And can you hear all the balloons?
Yeah, I was about to say that. Holy
Sorry, it's like,
cow.
I thought you were in the middle of a drive-by or something, but okay.
I'm not kidding you. He's literally here with like a pan, banging all the balloons by.
Hey, Liz.
It's fun.
Liz, look, Evana loves your POV and insights. POV.
Thank you, Ivana. Love it.
All right, we're going to let you go because we don't want to, I don't want anything to happen to you.
That's right. Duck behind the table.
We're gonna leave the YouTube theater and we're gonna walk over to where the rest of Canva Create happens. And hey, Brent, whose house does Canva Create happen in?
Graham's house. That's it.
Bye,
We'll see you later.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's the note the conference should end on.
That's the note that our
Keynote-
coverage is going to
the
end on.
keynote should end on.
All right. Thanks. Big thanks to Ivana, April, Brohammer, Chanel, Liz. We even got a little Dave Smith in there earlier. We really appreciate all the comments and all the conversation because this was the first time we did one of these. We didn't know, what we were going to take away from this. We actually ended up taking away a lot, and a lot of that goes to some of the perspectives that were added in by the folks who actually use this. Yeah, so thank you, Chanel.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, we're going to let you go because we've taken a lot of your time up lately. So,
all right, Medina, talking to you soon. Steve Reese will be talking to you.
Yes.
All right, take care.
See you guys later.
All right, well, guess who's in the green room now?
I wonder.
We don't have our usual. Well, we don't even have an intro yet. So I was going to say we don't have our usual intro for him, but we do have our usual one. But he is the one and only Dr. Michael Wu, and we're doing a special taking the lid off AI with Dr. Michael Wu. Here he is.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you both. Glad to be here again.
Yeah, so thank you for rolling with the time difference because, well, we were in a little earlier because we were doing this keynote, but we are certainly glad that you're here. And I have no idea of what you even want to talk about right now. So why don't you just jump into whatever it is you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, I'm just, I was in the green room and listening to some of the conversation earlier, and I think that resonate with me quite a bit. And I think that, this consumer enterprise, play, right, in Canva's kind of strategy. Actually, the same thing is happening in the AI world as well, I think if you look at it, OpenAI obviously started out with the kind of consumer play, right? They want this to be accessible to everyone. They made this, very easy, and all the tools, all the capability and features and functions are geared toward people who have no idea what even AI is or Gen AI or what, right? So and therefore they got this tremendous adoption, right? And huge kind of I would say, user base to start with. But then some of the later kind of commerce like Anthropic or even Gemini, I felt like they're playing it at a different angle, right? They're playing that, okay, so since the consumer is already taken by OpenAI, right? So what can we do? Obviously, we should probably just go the enterprise route, right? And I feel like the enterprise route, it's Anthropic and Gemini are. I mean, Gemini is kind of a little bit of both. I feel like they have distribution power through the huge ecosystem of kind of apps and channels that they own, right? So they have access to consumer that's kind of unparalleled, right? But then they're also kind of I would say solving very challenging problems in the enterprise world, right? So, and then Anthropic, of course, is kind of geared more toward the enterprise world with all this security, safety in mind in the coding, right? And I think that's it's going to be interesting to watch how this plays out because I feel like right now it certainly look like Anthropic is doing a lot better, right? I mean, just from a lot of the market kind of perspectives and they're even revenue wise, I think it looks like they have a more solid foundation because they're for one, right? I mean, it just says that enterprise it's less stickier, right, than consumer. Consumers are easy to jump on, and if you are using ChatGPT or Gemini, it's easy for you to switch to another the next month or next when your subscription is kind of up for renewal, right? It's not that difficult, right? So whereas enterprise is a completely different world, right? So I think this is kind of mirror some of the discussion. I feel like, this is perhaps some of the similar kind of challenges that Canva might face, right? If they actually keep going in the consumer route, right? Because they have to be they have to have the ability to keep those consumers for long term, right? Because consumers are actually not very sticky, in terms of their usage of technology, right? So whichever is cheaper, better, right? They could just switch next, literally the next month when their subscription's up, right? And whereas enterprises have to go through a lot more scrutiny, right? So that's why I feel like, enterprise is ultimately probably a better, in terms of business strategy wise, I think it's probably a better play. But, consumer market does have a huge kind of user base where you have to break in and be that pioneer, I feel like. Yeah.
So one of the things, I mean, Brohammer, the interesting thing though is in the transformation of, and especially with AI, given what it's under kind of scrutiny it's under, the transformation from consumer to enterprise is very tricky, really. I mean, look, because, and again, it goes to what Phil Wainwright's article really does do a good job on this, but he goes to governance and it goes to workflows and it goes to, approvals and it goes to rules, business rules. And it goes to things that companies like Pega or Creatio specialized in over the years, which is, the engine and the back end of it all. And also, once you go to enterprise, like consumer AI seems to me, in any case, it's pretty, once you get used to using it, it's pretty easy to use. It can do certain things. You're not sitting there worrying about whether it's compliant with something, right? When you go into the enterprise, you are worrying about whether it's what you get, the results you're getting, or the questions you even ask on the queries are compliant with something. Because if it's not, you're in trouble, and you're in deep trouble. So it's a whole other universe. And I mean, I look, a strategy that kind of addresses what you said. OpenAI comes. They're focused on consumers. They're smart. I mean, you get, what was it, 800 million or some insanely large number of people who download you and use you, but it also means they're all talking about you, and you move quickly into a mainstream of use. And not necessarily the mainstream, but a mainstream of use, meaning everyone's just using you, so they understand you, they know something about you, you're not alien, foreign, or crazy. Now, AI brought a lot more on, but the question I have then, though, is once you're making the move, acceptance is great, but making the move to the enterprise involves things that have nothing to do with the AI itself, per se, right? They have to do with all the other things that enterprises have to deal with. But AI, at the same time, is still the tool. It's not the creator, so to speak. So, how does one think about AI in terms of, well, like when, with pros, you're dealing with pricing optimization for an industry, an airline industry, which is, talk about governance and regulation. Holy crap, right? How does it deal with it? How does AI deal with those things, which are not really what people are trying to use it for? But how is AI supposed to be dealing with that?
So it's all about the scaffolding around the AI, right? Kind of the guardrail, and then the governance of the data and everything that goes around it, right? As you said, right? It's not about the AI. The AI can do what it does, and it's going to do what it does, right? And then there will be kind of, I would say, innovations that breakthroughs that will actually improve the AI performance in a somewhat step function way, right? Kind of big step. And right now, I think there's enough of, I think, these features. I mean, I would say insufficiencies of AI, right? For example, indeterminism is one thing that's a lot of enterprise that actually require precise and repeatable answers, right? That they just can't use Gen AI for these type of tool, right? For their system, right? Because especially when we're dealing with pricing and revenue management, right? You cannot, like estimate the price and then right now, and then and then you say, okay, now the situation is exactly the same. You estimate the price again. It's 5 cents different, right? 5 cents different could be a huge thing when you have like millions and billions of transactions, right? So yeah, so that's the type of thing that you have to put some scaffolding around it, right? Kind of essentially guardrails, and it's not the AI, right? As you said, it's whatever these other scaffolds that you put around the AI. Yeah, that's going to actually at least temporarily address those problems for enterprise. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that seems to be coming up a lot, I don't know a lot, but this you've seen Microsoft make a deal with I forget what energy company. Was it Chevron? Somebody, it was like a $7 billion deal where they basically are buying energy capacity to harness their AI. Oracle did the same thing recently, and I forget the name of the company. Amazon is doing the same thing. You're starting to see these huge technology companies make these huge deals with energy companies in hopes of making sure they have the capacity to run their AI, but also I think have a better, firmer idea of how much it's going to cost. What are the implications for these big, huge companies, kind of, for lack of a better way of putting it, creating these energy stores for themselves in order to have their AI be able to run at a way and at a rate that I think they'd be in to have a better handle on the pricing aspect or the cost aspect? Because it feels like, and we've been talking about this to a lot of companies would love to use as much AI as possible, but the more they use, the more they're going to end up having to pay because they don't have a one price for everything. So how does all this work in a big picture kind of?
Yeah. So this is one thing that I feel like the market don't quite understand. I think that the public market don't quite understand is that like the SaaS. I mean, so there's I think everybody heard this SaaS apocalypse, narrative that's out there, right? And SaaS company are penalized for literally for no reason. And I think it's actually the market got it wrong. I think Jensen Huang said it too. The market essentially got it wrong. I mean, there's SaaS is not going to go away. But I would kind of set that with a little bit of a caveat, is that like I think some SaaS will go away. But if you look at the requirement of these, it depends on where are these SaaS being used, right? I mean, so I think let me just give you an example, right? So your SaaS, suppose you are, have a platform that's, I don't know, in HR, right? You are hiring people or something. This is a lot of SaaS platform that does that, right? I mean, if you use AI to automate some of these things, right? So then it will require the AI to have what we say, explainability, fairness, right? And all those kind of requirements, right? So, but these are inherently at odds with the transformer architecture, right? Because the transformer architecture that is the foundation of all these Gen AI and agentic AI that we see today, it is built on transformers, right? And they're trained with like all the data that exists out there. So therefore, it will inherently have bias. There's just no way around bias. And also, there's not only it's a bias because this transformer neural network is it's such a big trillions of parameters now, right? You just can't explain what is actually going on in those transformer, right? That what's the precise calculation that leads to this candidate being accepted or rejected to the next round of interview, right? So all those are kind of, it requires, so if you're an HR platform, you need explainability, right? You need fairness, right? You can't, discriminate, right? So, and, basically those are at odds with the foundation of these Gen AI systems, this generative AI system, right? Because they're at odds with how if one day we actually can do away with transformer completely, right? We engineer, AI somehow found a new way to engineer itself, right? That can do away with transformer. Then that's a different story, right? But these are kind of inherent limitations of the transformer architecture, right? So that means that it doesn't matter how you make whether you make the transformer a trillion or 10 trillion parameter, or no matter how you scale it up, how you make it smarter, these properties won't go away. The fact that the lack of the black box nature of it, right? That's not explainable, and the fact that it's actually trained with data that's biased, right? Those won't go away, no matter how you make the AI smarter. It just won't go away. It's fundamental. It's intrinsic properties of these AI today, right? So that means these, if you are a HR SaaS platform, you are not going to be able to use this. I mean, maybe for some feature as a UI element or something like that, it will help you with usage, but you can't use it for the core functionality of some of your SaaS capabilities, right? So there are lots of these, I would say, requirements, right? For example, if you are building some, self-driving cars control loop, right? That requires real time, sub-millisecond kind of real time, right? And transformers they're just not real time. Basically, if you ask him a question, it's gonna, sometimes it could even think like for seconds or tens of seconds before you give you the answer, and that's like years, that's eons in the SaaS world, right? I mean, so there's lots of these requirement, right? And for pricing and revenue management, the precision, the repeatability of that requirement, makes these transformer just based AI just not suitable. Because we all have this experience, we ask the same question, exactly the same question twice, give you very, very different response, right? And you just can't have that in something like pricing or revenue management, right? So I think I give you enough examples of the SaaS populace is probably not going to, not real. I mean, I think some SaaS will go away, right? If your SaaS application doesn't have any of these real-time requirement, doesn't have explainability requirement, doesn't have this precision deterministic kind of requirement, right? Then it may be in danger. You may be in danger, right? But I think a lot of SaaS will have some parts that will require some of these requirements, right? And therefore not all of it will go away, right? Some, if you happen to be in maybe I'm just saying, maybe marketing, right? Maybe marketing doesn't have to be very, very precise. It doesn't need to be, real time. Doesn't need to be, doesn't have to have perfect explainability. Then yeah, maybe you're in danger of being disrupted by these, agentic AI, right? But others, where especially in the enterprise world, they have lots and lots of these requirements. I doubt it's going to be disrupted anytime soon. Yeah.
So actually, let me go back to something you were saying on the HR side. That was kind of interesting.
Sure.
It occurs to me, maybe I'm wrong, that given the limitations of transformer,
yeah. That's the architecture that a lot of these AI is built upon today.
Given the limitations of the transformer architecture, then the queries that would be used for the AI would have to be structured by someone, I should say, who actually knows HR regulatory requirements directly. I mean, in other words, because of whatever the current, like there's a what is it called? The Rooney Rule in football is they have to interview black coaches, right, as part of that. And now that said, if you're writing to AR, I mean, as an HR person, you're writing to AI, saying, okay, find me a list of potential candidates, and you don't say the word black, it would come up with potentially all white or candidates, potentially. But because of the Rooney Rule, you have to interview that way. And so the person who's writing the query would have to be both knowledgeable about the Rooney Rule and knowledgeable about the consequences of not doing it. Now, that said, let's assume I am a knowledgeable person writing about an HR, looking for, on a position. I'm looking for somebody, and I'm aware of the 5 different governance governance I have to pay attention to. What's the likelihood of me putting in the query, and it goes to a point you already made, putting in a query with the precise, accurate governance in the query, and getting a response, and then doing it again, and would I get a completely different response? Would I possibly get a completely different response, even though I am literally taking a already delimited architecture and delimiting it even further? Right? That's why I'm going with delimiting something that's already delimited. How accurate or how consistent will the response be?
Yeah, it won't be consistent. There's no guarantee it will be consistent. Let's just say that. Wow. There's you may get lucky and be consistent, right? But then there's no guarantee that it will be consistent. If another person, type in the same exactly, take your exact kind of prompt, right, and enter it, right, it may actually get a different answer, right? And then if you ask him why, he can explain it to you, right? So that's another challenge, right? It's like I said, with HR is not only have to be fair and reproducible, but it had to be able to explain, right? This is especially true in the financial industry. Like if you get, denied a loan or some financial services or something, right? It has to be able to explain to you why, right? And being able to explain to you by its chain of thought is actually not sufficient, because we know today that the chain of thought actually is not representative of the internal calculation that's actually being computed within the neural network itself. So it's actually not able to explain it, even if you actually get the answer correct, right? This person should be hired, this person should be fired, or whatever. This person should get an interview, this one should not, right? Whatever. Even if you get it right, the fact that it cannot explain it to you, right? It's problematic, right? And
well,
this,
the other
maybe
side
not as serious in HR, but in finance, it definitely is, right? So,
well, sometimes it comes up with a really odd result too. Well, here's a good example. So again, as people who have ever heard me talk about HR know, AI know, I'm doing a lot of work in home automation with AI, and sometimes we reach these really difficult problems. And I'll have the problem, and I'll say, let's try it. There's 2 different really odd responses I always get, or let's say responses I wish I didn't get that I get. One is, let me try it this way, and then it'll give me a script to copy and to paste into a terminal or whatever. And then I'll say, wait, no, that doesn't work. Literally right underneath it before I've done anything, and say, try this instead, which is the first one. And then the second one is we go through 10 different approaches, and it said, oh, let's just do it this way. It's much simpler. Blah, blah, and then I do it, and it works. And I always ask it, why didn't you say that first? I mean, it literally would have saved me potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of tokens and time and so on. But AI has a propensity to come up with answers that are not the actual easiest way to do it, which then brings into question AI's ability to give you the right answer, or at least give you an answer that's a lot simpler, easier to do than it actually provides you with. So, and if you're dealing with actual governance, that could be an utter disaster.
That's right. Yeah, that's why that's why I say that the market's got it completely wrong, right? SaaS is not. I mean, I would say like some SaaS. I mean, some SaaS will go away, but for sure, but not all SaaS will go away.
Right.
This whole narrative around SaaS apocalypse is not true, right?
Thank you. Yeah. Amen, brother, on that one.
And I also feel like there's one more point I wanted to talk about is the economics of. I think Brent, you alluded to this, right? That the cost of keep using these AI is so high, right? I think that's why all these big players are actually doing deals with energy company to make sure that they have the costs under kind of a little bit more control, right? Maybe not fully, but at least they have visibility and they can actually plan against it, right? And I think this is another thing that the market don't quite understand. This is because with SaaS, right, you have a implementation, right, and then after you deploy it, right, the rest of it becomes sort of a fixed cost, right? It's kind of a fixed cost moving on, right? And then it's very predictable because it doesn't cost, it won't spike in any too surprising way, right? But with like AI is completely different story, right? The cost continues to rise as people use it. It's not like SaaS. SaaS is like initially it rises and then it becomes flat. It becomes a fixed cost, right? With AI, it just continues to rise. That's why there's so many people say like we're not seeing the ROI of these AI, this agentic AI, because it's expensive, right? It's expensive, right? Because the more you use it, every token that it consume and spit out and back to you costs you, right? Yeah. So that's why it's so costly, right? I mean, it's people don't quite understand that yet. I mean, so I think even the business model of and the economics of how to use this AI effectively is not quite well understood. So that alone, just I would say, yeah, I mean, AI can do a lot of things, but if it costs you like way more to do it, right? It's still not gonna replace SaaS, Right. So yeah.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you for bringing us that in a different time because we're running right from doing a watch party into this. So we really appreciate it. We will be back on our regularly scheduled programming with taking the lid off. What is it? The third Thursday of the month, I believe so. So yeah, that'll be April sometime. No, May.
This is April.
We're almost into May already.
Yeah,
that doesn't make any damn sense to me. But anyway, thanks once again to Dr. Michael Wu for giving us another lid taking. Kind of like
the lid off once again.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks. All right.
See you.
Oh, I took the wrong guy out.
It's all right. I'm ready to go.
I am too. But this actually, I would have to say this Canva watch party was actually really good.
It was interesting. I mean, honestly,
really good, not just from what they said, but just the overall, because there's a lot of comments coming from.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we've two commentary rock stars and Chanel, another just a complete, goddess, really.
Yes.
We had just fantastic commentary. Users, actually 3 people who use it as creators, really, and content creators, and a new friend too, April.
No, the strategic Oracle.
Or on an Oracle watch party, the strategic Canva. Right? It was fun. I will say though, personally, not speaking for you here, that probably a little out of my league for that one, because I mean, I understand design quite well. I'm not a great designer by any means, but I've as I said, I was a user, a casual user of Canva Pro, and it's good. But I'm looking for signals that just don't.
They weren't there.
Audience,
yeah,
right?
I wasn't there for this one. I was looking for them too. We saw stuff, but not really aimed at that upper level.
Right. Now Liz nailed it right, and Brohammer kind of nailed it right too.
Yeah.
I think especially Liz kind of really got it.
At the end when she gave her take, that was really good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And it really, tied it all together. And I do highly recommend Phil's article. It was really good. Cool. That's why in a way I was kind of thinking the signals would be there, because when you read Phil's article, you think, okay, well, opportunity for enterprise could be there, right? And you'll see it when you read it. It's great.
I'm sure it's there. It's just that might not be their direct focus, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we did not see that. And the other facet that was missing, which they probably could have brought in even with this crowd, was the true collaborative features. They kind of implied them all throughout. You work with this team doing this and this, but it wasn't really. When you're talking enterprise, you're talking about large scale enterprise collaboration among departments,
and much more structured and formatted collaboration.
Yeah, none of that was there, but it's okay. I mean, again, it was interesting, fun. I loved the people we had with us, and it was different. And unlike Apple, we won't be banned from YouTube or have our wrist slapped from YouTube.
Now, the next time you see us, another company, and believe me, I think the stakes are higher for Adobe.
Way higher.
Yeah, I think this might be the most important keynote for Adobe in the last decade or so, because there's so much going on with them right now.
Yeah, especially with the man on the left.
Yeah, the man on the left is stepping down after being there for like over a decade. They've had their stock price has been basically stuck in the mud for about 2 months. They don't seem to have a really good answer to pricing AI on top of the subscriptions that people are already paying for their tools and their platform. And there's just a lot of things that seem to be lined up against them right now. So this next keynote on Monday is gonna be, I think, the biggest one I've heard from any company in quite some time.
I agree with you. And I think the other side of it with this is, while they're using AI, it tends to be Gen AI for the most part inside their products. But I've heard very little, if any, conversation about agentic from these guys. And ultimately, the enterprise relies on agentic, not so much only Gen AI. So it's going to be really fascinating to see. And this, look, what we're hearing, this is the Adobe Summit with digital experience. This isn't Adobe Max. So this is enterprise talk, right? And they're going to have to, right now, they're not proving they're up to it. So this one will yay or nay them.
We'll see. And we'll see what role Jensen plays in this, because Jensen he's got a vested interest in all these enterprise SaaS companies doing well. Because they're buying all their they're buying a bunch of their chips. So I'll be very interested not only on what Shantanu and Anil and David Wadhwani, all their executives. I want to see what Jensen has to say, because he has to kind of play an assisting role in this stuff too, because this whole industry is kind of dependent on NVIDIA, and NVIDIA needs to help these enterprise SaaS companies show the actual financial impact that all this investment is having on their bottom line. That's a lot to go into one keynote session. That's the way I see it. So
yeah, I will tell you this too, that actually I'm hoping that Jensen shows up at Pega World. You know why? Because Jensen, he's amazing, but his jokes are terrible, right? And I want Don Schuerman to work with him on some comedy, right? Because he really
could use the help.
He really needs the help, and if anybody could do it, it's Don.
Well, we will be there for that one.
Yes, we will. June 8th, 7th through 9th.
That's right. So, but in the meantime, we will see you on the next watch party Monday. It's a different kind of time, 2 p.m. Eastern Monday. We'll see if we can round up a few smart people to join us, because we definitely need all the smarts around us.
Yes, we do.
We will see you next week.